All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Mcconnell, and welcome to our little project for exercise misinformation. So I'm first going to start off with a little introduction about my experience in the gym. So I've been going to the gym for about a year and a half now, very consecutively. Not at the moment right now with COVID-19 going on right now, but I've continued along with my in-home workouts. That's a bit about me.
Hi, I'm Marquez, and I recently not retired. I recently separated from the military, and with my job being so in high demand of heavy lifting, aviation ordnanceman, I had to get fit and be able to figure out good posture rather than bad posture. And I still today continue to do home workouts as well, considering the whole COVID-19. And that's a bit about me.
All right. I'm Norton. I'm a nutrition major at ASU, and I've been experimenting in the gym for 2-3 years. Been weightlifting about a year or two, and yeah, I've been trying to figure out what works best for me.
Hi, I'm Nyah Rivera. And all through grade school, I went to a sports school, so that's where I started doing workouts and stuff. And in high school, I did track and cross country. And as you might guess, I'm pretty small, as most cross country runners are. And I think that has affected my outlook on exercise a lot, and trying to get a body that I just can't achieve because genetics. So this is really interesting to me.
With the whole misinformation on exercise, I say that social media has a big role in creating misinformation, all because of social media influencers. They practically get paid in order to go to the gym all day, every day, and achieve this body image that most public people that work a 8 to 10 job, or not 8 to 10, but a 9 to 5 job, they can't achieve it because they don't have the time, they don't have the means. They have families, they have pets, they have a full-time job, they go to school, especially college students. They don't have the time to be staying in the gym all day, every day. So I say that misinformation is pretty much defined as false or inaccurate information, whether it's intentional or unintentional. So with that being said, social media influencers put out this information for themselves, in a sense, because they're only really looking out for themselves, because that's their career. That's how they make their money. So if you want to achieve a certain body type or a look that you're following, I say you have to go in to research more in depth. And a couple of those examples, let me show you my screen really quick. This one is about a full day of eating for booty gains. Obviously I'm female, so I'm going to be more in depth with the lower body aspect, because as a female you want to get that lower body bigger, thicker. And this one, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear. Let me put it on low really quick, or on mute. And she pretty much shows what she eats on a day-to-day basis in order to achieve those body gains. She has an app. This is pretty much like a vlog in a sense, which is another example of social media. You don't want to look up a social media vlog YouTube channel, because they do give out a lot of misinformation, because that's their personal life. That's what works for them. You could try it out and see if it works, but I don't recommend it. She just eats a lot of different things. Obviously, this is a horrible example for that one. And then this one's a heavy leg booty, and this one's just to show bad posture, in a sense, because they don't really tell you in depth if it's going to work for you. It just shows, again, another vlog on how social media impacts it, because you just want to achieve this type of body image. Like, this is all genetics pretty much, right?
Hey guys, welcome back to Katsu.
And she's a really big influencer on Instagram, if you haven't known about her. But she actually is a sponsor of her own work, her own booty workouts and everything. So with her, she shows how to do this type of workout where you can't like really achieve it. Because if you, let's say you're starting off in the gym, right? And you want to achieve her body image, her butt image, and you go into the gym and you start pumping out the iron for, I don't know how much weight that is, you could create bad posture. You don't have good form. You may break your back trying to achieve this. Like, obviously that's unrealistic expectations, right? So one other, I can't get it right now. I don't know why it's not doing it. But one other thing, this is an example of bad posture and what could happen if you follow social media influencers. Like, you go in and you put this unrealistic weight on you, and like, it's not realistic at all. And another one, she had a spotter, and I'm pretty sure it's her gym trainer. And yet she goes in and she tries to do it. And she can't.
Bad spotter.
These are just examples on like what could happen at the gym if you do tend to like, all right, I'm motivated, I want to go, I'm gonna go do it, and then boom, you end up injuring yourself, right? Like, it's not realistic, man. Like, I don't know. It's just the influx of poor health and nutrition information as well as, you know, the unsafe detoxes. It's just, altogether, it's just unrealistic expectations with social media. Yeah, although social media can have a positive impact as in for motivation, like you see it, you want to go, it's not a good resource unless you're doing your research correctly, if that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Could I add to this real quick?
Yes, you can.
Alrighty. So again, adding to that idea about how you really shouldn't compare yourself to these social media people. Again, stating the claim that, or the concept that they're being paid to post pictures on Instagram. They're being paid to look good. So the conclusion, jumping to the conclusion that they're probably going to take any step possible or any sort of way possible to improve themselves even more, isn't that far away. So what I'm trying to say is that they're probably going to do things like steroids, or like a girl like that wants to have a big butt to show off on Instagram to get a lot of followers. Who's saying that she's not putting butt implants in or having boob implants?
Exactly. You know? Like, they could be getting surgery. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
yeah, don't worry about
surgery it. As well. Like, you don't know exactly what's going on in their day-to-day life. Like, it's just so annoying to me, because it's just like it's genetics just as much as other influences, as in drugs, surgery, genetics. Whether I'm tiny, I don't gain much. I have a fast metabolism. I can't get that.
Mm-hmm.
You can only tone, right? But yeah, that's my whole how social media contributes to exercise misinformation.
Oh, also one more thing about with form and posture on exercises. As you're seeing in those videos, there's people going in and putting a ton of weight on the bar, and what that girl looked like, she was like squatting 315. I've been exercising for like a year and a half now. I'm somewhat not the most built for strength, but I think the highest I ever got was like 250. So I don't know. Props to her if she could have ever gotten 315. But back to what I was saying. You should normally focus on form when you first get in the gym. You need to build the foundation of the house before you start actually building the house. You
Amen.
just jump to heavyweight without having that foundation. It's like building a house without the foundation. It's gonna get blown over by the wind practically. All right, that's all I had to say. Next on the Jared.
All right. So my topic kind of ties into Diamond's topic, which is social media, because a lot of the people from social media want to push like a supplement or workout program, or they just like post some obscure diet that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, like an example, like on a social media site like YouTube, I checked out a certain YouTuber called V-Shreds, and when you always need to vet information, like, so I'm just gonna scroll through here, and he has a bunch of exercises, clickbaity titles, and if I keep going down, there's a bunch of videos about him that he's stealing content, and I probably don't want to follow that guy. If I did follow his videos, then I could have been misinformed and would have gotten bad results. So we close out of that. So they want to sell you some workout programs, supplements, and that's their goal is to make money instead of that. So if I could do a little reel of these supplements. Yeah, there's a lot of them. So yeah, it's impossible to navigate all these things like super fat burning gummies. No clue. So when you look through your sources, this is one of my sources I used. His name's James Linker. He has a Bachelor's of Science in Sports Nutrition and a teaching degree. So a couple of the things that I can help with, like some of these myths, the longer I spend on the treadmill, the better it is for fat burning. That's not necessarily true because you're just fatiguing yourself, and if you spend a bunch of time, you can easily overtrain, and that definitely isn't good for you. And also, number 7, fat is bad for your diet. Fat is essential for metabolizing vitamins, and yeah, it helps with most of your processes and cell linings. So you definitely need fat. Fat isn't the enemy. So yeah. Also, strength training. One of the main goals of diet is like diet and weight loss. People mostly consider cardio, move more, eat less, and one of the larger components that they don't consider is strength training. Strength training can have an effect on your metabolism, and it can help you lose weight and develop a better body, like be healthier. So yeah, if I go into something else, yeah, I would just want to show you a couple ads. Like obviously you see these ads. If you click on any of these, they're all scams, and just like avoid flashy titles, some favorites, and like if you see all these, obviously your motivation is going to be affected, and you're probably not going to want to work out if it's going to lead to nothing, or you're not going to get the promised results.
Okay.
Move on.
I wanted to add 2 things. Moving on to that, supplements. So you can find that a lot of these big social media accounts and just people in general that are pushing false information, like V-Threads, will push false diet myths to sell you supplements. Like the concept of bulking, where you need to eat more calories than your body burns off, is completely false. Doing so will lead you to gain more weight and gain more fat. As well, a lot of these people really play on the emotions of people in themselves. what I'm saying is a lot of people have like a lot of emotion tied to their body, about their physical appearance. A lot of people have struggled with weight up and down throughout the years. And a lot of these fitness influencers and people like Risha again play on these people's emotions and push them supplements for a quick fix, when normally these wouldn't help them whatsoever. That's all I had to say.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to move on to my part of the presentation, which largely has to do with motivation. And I'd like to start off with the general population. And the general population. Oh, sorry. There's something in the way of the screen. I don't know how to move it. Thank you. Bam. Okay. The most like scientific way to measure how healthy somebody is when it comes to like their weight and height ratio is the body mass index. And here I have a body mass index chart. And in the green, as you might guess, is the normal and healthy weight for somebody. And in the red is the very severely obese, and in the purple is the very severely underweight. And if you're curious as to where you might be, you can go to cdc.gov. If this will get out of the way. Whoops, there it is. Okay. You can go to cdc.gov. And here I'll give an example of my height and weight. So I'm going to put in 5'3", and I am 105 pounds. I'm going to calculate that real quick. And here you can see that the normal weight range would be 104 to 141 for my height. So I'm barely in that, and I've always been small, so that's expected of me. And I'd like to share some stats of America, and specifically the adults in America. Obesity from 2000 to 2018 has risen from 30.5% of the adult population to 42.4%, and is projected to be at 50% of the adult population in America in 2030. And this is the obese rate, which is pretty crazy to me. The overweight rate is 4.7. It started off at 4.7 in 2000 and went up to 9.2 in 2018. And that's just a little sad to hear, like how much America has become like the fat country, and just wants to 50% of the population being obese is a bit crazy. And I think trying to change that starts with motivating people. And I have looked at a TED Talk by Scott Geller, who was a psych professor at Virginia Tech. And he asks in this TED Talk 3 questions to feel empowered, which was the 3 steps to motivating yourself. And the first question is, can you do it? And this is the more educational aspect, talking about if you have the knowledge to do what you want to do and want to achieve. And the second question is, will it work? Which is more of the training aspect, to apply that knowledge and put that into action. And then the third, and I think most important part is it worth it? And anything that I think that could help your health should be something, whether it be mental health, physical health, should be something that should be worth it. Anything that could lengthen your life, and you could see your grandchildren, run around, and you can play with them, not have to worry about, breaking your bones as much as you would if you wouldn't. And a big component of motivation is actually sleep. If you get too much or too little, that can severely be detrimental to how you are motivated to do certain activities, such as exercise or just feel good about yourself. Too little sleep is under 6 hours, and too much sleep is over 11 hours. So you have a lot of leeway there. And I know a lot of us are closer to the 6-hour range as young adults and college students who work and go to college. But the prime spot is 9 to 7 hours, which is, I think, a pretty good spot, and I think can be really achievable for a lot of us if you really want to work at it. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is habits and forming habits. And I know probably at this time during quarantine is the most applicable time to start making habits and making new routines. And there was a study done where a researcher asked individuals about their 5 top core values. And when they asked them about their 5 top core values, they felt significantly more motivated to do habits or try to make habits like quit smoking or stuff like that. And the myth that it takes 21 days to form a habit is just that, a myth. And on average, it actually takes 66 days. But don't be discouraged. This ranges anywhere from 18 to 254 days. So it could be as crazy as that or as simple as 200 or 18 days. So yeah, that's the end of my portion of the presentation.
Okay. I'm going to add one thing about motivation. So what I've learned is that to truly be motivated long-term for exercise, you need to be doing something that you enjoy. If you're not doing a form of exercise that you don't enjoy, you're not going to be sticking to it long-term. And long-term, you won't be getting the benefits of exercise. So no matter what it is, find some form of exercise that you enjoy that'll let you keep exercising and actually be able to get the health benefits. So that moves into my section where I'm just going to talk about exercise a little bit in general, about different weightlifting and different ways to just gain muscle. And then we're going to finish it off with a survey that we did, exercise habits. So you might be asking, oh, Cameron, where are you getting all this information you're talking about after everyone's done with their portion? I just want to share my screen real quick. Okay. So here we go. We have Greg Duchette. So Greg Duchette is a YouTube channel, and I'm just going to advocate and just say, whenever you have the chance and you need any info on exercise, go watch this guy. He's been the most informational YouTube fitness person I've ever watched in general. Just the quality of his information is spot on, and everything that he says is believable and backed through evidence. So as you can see here, this is a website, and it states a little bit about him and why you can trust a lot of the information he says. So, he's a world record holder, power lifter, and he has a Guinness World Record in deadlifts. He's competed in over 100 bodybuilding and powerlifting competitions. He's got a master's in kinesiology, and as well, he's an active competitor on the pro bodybuilding stage, the IFBB. So, like I said, he has a lot of experience in the fitness industry. So that's why you truly can trust what he says. So moving on from that. So I want to talk about, why do a lot of people believe in information, specifically false information regarding exercise? So there's a psychological term known as confirmation bias. So it's the idea that people are typically only going to believe in ideas that back their own opinions. So typically when people first get in the gym, a lot of the information they're going to learn is bro science. That's what we typically call it. It's typically people talking about science in the gym, and most of the information you'll learn in the gym from people is false. I'm not saying all the information, but a lot of it is. And so most people are going to stick with this information, and whenever they're brought up with new information, they're typically not going to believe it because of their confirmation bias, because if there's conflicting information with their own information, they're not going to believe it because they just want to believe in their own opinion. So you may be asking, how do you combat this? How do you fix this issue? Well, you just need to keep an open mind, and as well just work with the different ideas you learn about because everybody's different. Everybody's got different genetics. It just depends on who you are and what's going to work for you. But there are a couple tried and true ways to actually maximize what you're trying to do in the gym. So I don't know much about cardiovascular exercise, but I know that it's very beneficial. You're typically going to want to do it cardiovascular exercise. But if your main goal of gaining muscle, that's what I mostly know about. So typically with exercising, there's a lot of myths depending on how to gain muscle the most. There's the bulking idea. That's not true. So talking about diet a little bit for gaining muscle, you typically really only need to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I'm sure you can calculate that. And then you can fill in the rest of the macros. Don't even worry about the macros. Just worry about how much protein intake you're taking. So again, I'm getting all this information from Greg Duchette. He's a great source. Whenever you get the chance, please check him out. Go support him. Do whatever you can. You will thank me later. I promise you that. So moving on. So for gaining muscle. Oh, and another concept that I want to get by. This doesn't matter if you're a girl or a woman, or a girl or a man, right? Girls have this idea that they can't do men exercises, and there's ideas that men can't do girl exercises. There's like this stupid stipulation with like the sexes, right? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Girls can do guy exercises. Guys can do girl exercise. I've seen countless guys say they don't want to do hip thrusts because it's a girly exercise and they don't want to be looking like some guy humping the air, but it's a beneficial exercise. And it's just stupid ideas that society has placed on men. It's just forget that. Girls, if you want to do guy exercises, do guy exercises. There's no guy exercise. Just forget that. There's no sex exercise. They're just exercises. Okay. Moving on from that. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say something about that real quick though? Like I was one of those people who was like, I'm not going to do no, weightlifting. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to get bulky. I'm going to be like one of those, star show, muscle building, whatever have you type of person. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. And for the longest, that what kept me from going to the gym because all the gym has is weights.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, either I'm going to do cardio, which I hate, or I'm going to start doing lifting. The trick is if you find a good source and you actually do your research, you can do low weight with higher reps just to tone your body, which gains a little bit of muscle for females. I'm talking for the female perspective, that if you go and do high reps of low weight, you just tone your body. You just tone your muscles. There's no building effect, especially if you're not taking all of the aminos and all the protein and all these other snacks and goodies that all these bodybuilding people are actually taking. And not only that, but limiting your time at the gym as well. You have no problem in not building that type of physique, So that's just my little input on that, because I was one of those people that was like, I'm not going to go and do no, weightlifting because I'm just not trying to be big. I like my little itty bitty physique. I'd rather keep that. But high reps of low weight and you're good to go.
So I'm going to add to that idea a little bit as well. So again, everyone has that concept that if they lift heavy weights, they're going to gain muscle, a ton of muscle. And everyone thinks they're going to look like a bodybuilder, a professional body. Like, tell me this. Do you really think you could look like this in 1 year? I really doubt it. I mean, you must be like, have godly genetics if you want to look like this. This is years of muscle building. This is the big giant idea I'm trying to get across, right? So building muscle is not something that happens overnight. Of course you build muscle overnight as you sleep, but it's not something that's going to happen very quickly. Building muscle takes a very, very long time, because guess what? It's not your body's first priority. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. Yeah, like girls are always not to put anybody down, but girls are always like scared that like they're going to bulk up or anything like that. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight, And personally, and this is just me, I did cross country and I did a lot of running. So maybe that combated a lot of the weight training that I did. I'm not exactly sure, but I lifted with my squats, my legs are like my best asset when it comes to like the strength that they have. I could lift like 200 pounds, and I'm not exaggerating. Like I actually did lift 200 pounds, and that's almost double my weight, and you can't, it's just based on like what you do. I do a lot of cardio, so doing like that heavy weight is like helpful to me, because it's just what my body needs. So
Yeah. You're working within your means, there's nothing wrong with that. So continuing on with my train there. So like I said, I'll do a little what is it? I'll compare it to something. So muscle building can compare it to this. So the saying is that the pyramids weren't built in a day. Building a ton of muscle isn't going to be built in a day. So moving on to that, there's another concept where muscle building, as you further get along with trying to build muscle, you're going to build less and less every single year. This is the law of diminishing returns. Now, I'm not very into it. I don't know the exact science behind it. I'm just a first-year kinesiology student, but I know a lot of this information in exercise because I watch Greg Doucette. Please go watch him. He's great. Okay. And so back to comparing between girls and guys real quick. So girls expected to get like super bulky like guys. Please get rid of this idea. Unless you have really great genetics, then you'll gain a lot of muscle, but most girls typically will gain less muscle than men just because testosterone plays a large role in muscle mass, and girls don't have as much testosterone as men. That's why typically men are much bigger than girls. Not all the time, but it's the average. Okay, so those are those concepts out of the way. Moving on from that, we have exercising. So depending on what type of weight you're doing, really influences the type of muscle that you're going to make. And again, this isn't 100% true. It just depends on your genetics, right? So typically, if you're to lift really heavy weight for a short period of time, of course you're tearing muscle fibers, which is your goal to build muscle by tearing your muscle fibers down so it can be rebuilt bigger. This is typically used for motor neuron recruitment. So when you recruit motor neurons, you're just activating more dormant muscle fibers in your body, which increases your strength, which in turn lets you lift more and more heavier weights. So if your goal is to be a power lifter or someone that wants to lift heavy weights, just lift heavy weights for short amount of reps, but high weight, There's also the ego aspect to it. Don't get swallowed up by the ego aspect to it. Of course, I got swallowed up by it, Everyone wants to lift huge in the gym. Everyone wants to be like, ooh, deadlift 400, 500 pounds. Of course, yeah, it's like somewhat cool, but it gets old very quickly, slamming the weights, it just, most people just don't want to deal with that in the gym. And then this gets to my realm of expertise on actually trying to maximize gaining muscle. So when exercising, a lot of time you're going to want to aim for 40 seconds of time under tension. So the reps don't matter, right? Focus on time under tension. Well, what's time under tension? Well, time under tension is the amount of time your muscle is spent under tension, which means it depends on how long you're doing the exercise for. So say you're doing bicep curls, right? You're going to be doing this motion for at least 40 seconds. Typically, you're going to want to try to train till failure. You don't have to if you're a beginner, right? But typically, if you're more experienced and you've started slowing down in the gym with results, you want to train to failure. If you've trained to failure when you're first starting out, you're going to get sore. I'm not going to get into depth with that because that's just going to be more crap I got to talk about, and it's just going to make this even longer. But yeah, you're going to work on each of the muscle groups. So when you focus on muscle groups, you've got your biceps, your back, your triceps, your legs. Just typically what we're going to do is you're going to want to work on one muscle group. So 2 times a week. So let's say you're training biceps 2 times a week, right? You can add like a push-pull leg, so whatever. Moving on, 2 times a week, and you're typically going to want to have a 3-day break in between. This is supported again by Greg Doucette, as well as there's multiple studies you can look up about time under tension and optimal rep ranges for muscle hypertrophy, which is another way of saying muscle growth. So typically for just focusing on these aspects, you will see results in the gym. I promise you that. Just you put the effort in. Typically you're going to try to go to the gym 6 days a week. If that doesn't really work for you, try and at least try and go and make the most of it, For at-home exercises during this right now with COVID-19, a lot of body weight. If you really want to first just get a little foundation with exercise, you could try some things at home, because right now a lot of people think this is the worst time to start trying to get into exercise. This is actually the best time with COVID-19 because everyone has so much free time, more free time than we normally have, especially if you're still working. Just try and make a little bit of an effort, put it aside 30 minutes of your busy day and just try and do some sort of exercise. So that sort of ends my long rant on exercise and different aspects of how to improve muscle hypertrophy and just trying to be gaining the optimal muscle mass. So we're going to finish off this little discussion with a survey we did for exercise habits.